Hi there, my name's Luan and today I'll be walking you through the climate in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Why it is like it is and what influences does it have on, New Zealand's species and its landscape. So cha. New Zealand's climate is shaped by its location, surrounded by the Pacific Ocean and its diverse landscape of mountains, plains and coastlines. It is a temperate maritime climate, which means that it's generally mild with small differences in temperature between seasons, though it can vary a lot depending on where you are in the country. Why is New Zealand's climate like this? Number one, its location and ocean influence. New Zealand is surrounded by ocean, which keeps the climate mild. The sea acts as a buffer, absorbing heat and cooling the air, so winters don't get too cold and summers don't get extremely hot. This is why coastal areas often feel quite moderate. Number two, mountains and wind patterns. The Southern Alps running along the South Island play a massive role. Winds blowing from the west hit the mountains, forming moist air which pushes up and then cools and forms rain on the west side. This creates a lot of rainfall on the western side, making it lush and green. The eastern side, however, gets much less rain, leading to drier regions like Canterbury. Reason number three of why New Zealand's climate is like this. Strong westerly winds, known as the Roaring Forties, blow across New Zealand from the ocean, influencing the weather patterns. These winds bring frequent rain to the western parts of the country and make the weather changeable and unpredictable. And now, the influence on New Zealand's species and landscape. Number one is endemism. Many of New Zealand's species are found nowhere else in the world. This is because the country has been isolated for millions of years, allowing unique plants and animals to evolve without outside influence. The kiwi bird and kauri tree are just a couple of examples. The climate and isolated geography have allowed species to fill niches that might be taken by other animals in other parts of the world. Adaptation to climate. Plants and animals in New Zealand have adapted to the specific climate. For example, many native plants are evergreen, meaning that they can survive in both the mild winters and the rainy and often humid conditions. Birds like the kea, who live in the mountains, have evolved to cold alpine conditions. Ecological niches. Because there are no native land mammals in New Zealand except for bats, birds and insects have filled many roles that mammals would occupy in other places. For example, the kiwi is a bird that lives much like a small mammal, foraging on the ground for food. Energy transfer in ecosystems. New Zealand's ecosystems transfer energy from the sun through plants as the base of the food chain to herbivores and then to predators. In forests, plants like ferns and trees absorb sunlight, insects feed on these plants, and birds and reptiles eat the insects. Without large predators, like in other parts of the world, birds often sit at the top of the food chain, especially before humans introduce species like stoats and rats. In it, bruv. Water cycle. The water cycle is very active in New Zealand because of its rainfall patterns. Mountains capture moisture from the air, creating rivers that flow through the valleys, providing fresh water for plants and animals. This process shapes the landscape, carving out valleys and feeding into lakes and wetlands. The abundance of water also supports New Zealand's unique forests and grasslands. Quite a unique country, aren't we? Weather and ecosystems. The changeable weather with sudden shifts between rain, sun, and wind means that many plants and animals have developed resilience, probably just like us as humans. Some plants can survive long periods of drought in drier regions, while others in the wetter west have adapted to thrive in consistently damp environments. Geology and landscape. New Zealand is located on the boundary between two tectonic plates, which makes the land geologically active. This activity has created mountains, volcanoes, and boom, 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 earthquakes. The mountains terrain not only affects the climate by creating rain, just like, on the west coast or the Southern Alps, but also creates unique habitats at different altitudes. This has led to a range of ecosystems, from alpine zones to coastal forests, each with species adapted to those environments. And now we move on to the influence on species and landscape. Forest ecosystems. In wetter areas, dense forests thrive, supporting species like ferns, mosses, and towering trees such as the kauri and rimu. The climate, with frequent rain, ensures that these forests remain lush and diverse. In the higher and colder alpine zones, plants like tussock grasses and shrubs dominate. Species such as the kea have adapted to these tough conditions, where food can be rare and temperatures low. Coastal and marine life. The seas surrounding New Zealand are also rich in life, from dolphins and seals to unique fish species. The mixing of warm and cold currents around the country creates rich feeding grounds, influencing marine ecosystems. In conclusion, New Zealand's climate, shaped by the ocean, the mountain, and the winds, create a diverse environment that supports a wide range of ecosystems. From alpine peaks to the coastal shores, species have evolved to adapt to these unique conditions, filling ecological roles that may be different from those in other parts of the world. The active water cycle, changing weather, and geological activity all contribute to shaping the land and its life, creating the stunning landscapes and unique biodiversity that make Aotearoa so special. Big ups, New Zealand. Be grateful. Be happy. Churnery. Big up, Logan. Low gangster.